Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy day after April Fool's Day. That's a thing. Hope everybody is doing well. Let me get live stream going over here for our Discord friends so they can at least watch what's happening. Good morning to our friends at Discord and the Xtrades Discord community. Hope you guys are doing well. Just a friendly reminder to come join us over on the YouTube side of things. That's where I am keeping my attention as far as the chat goes and things of that nature. So, for the best experience and to be able to interact and join the conversation, YouTube is definitely the way to go. Um, Also, just a quick reminder that here, probably in May, we'll switch things over to um, chat being limited to subscribers of our YouTube channel only. So make sure that if you haven't already done so, that you are subscribing to the Xtrades YouTube channel. That will make sure that you are never cut out of the conversation um, due to that shift happening. So, what's up, Unknown Reviews? Good morning to you. What's up, Rue? I need to flip 100K to 1 million this year. Don't we all? What's up, Red Black? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, so we've got some people here. Let's get to chatting about uh, what's happening here with the markets, what I'm seeing. Definitely want to find out what you guys are seeing and what you're interested in me taking a look at. Um, I mean, hey, interest is a good thing, buddy. Uh, Interest or stick it into some high yield dividend funds and sit back, relax, collect the bennies, and you know, life is easy at that point. Uh, all right, what's up, Wayne? Good to see you here. Glad to see you in the mix. And good morning again to all our friends over on Discord. Again, just a reminder to come join us on YouTube. That is where you will get the best FOMO live stream experience. That wagyu is I think you could afford a couple of steaks with just the interest that you'll collect on 100K. All right, so what are we seeing here in the markets? What's happening? What am I kind of keeping my eye on? Certainly keeping an eye on this demand zone we have down here below that we are just now kind of dipping our toe into for really only the second time since it was established. So probably still some healthy demand in this range. Could certainly see things getting bought up a little bit. We are down below the 200 SMA. Here on the hourly chart, we broke down below and now we're rejecting it. Neptune has flipped fully bearish as of mid morning yesterday here on the hourly chart. We did put in a new supply zone overhead. That is certainly something to keep a watch on or an eye on. We caught this, topped out at this. I can't even remember how long ago I drew this. I'll have to go back and take a look because this is probably, I would think, the four, no, it's probably the 3.62 extension that we're looking at here that I drew. I don't know how long ago, but we topped out right on it. I think it was 25 cents off from a ES perspective. That's pretty laser accurate, especially for a level that was drawn well before the S&P ever made it up here. So keep an eye on this. We definitely have some room to move down, I think. But not probably too much further. I would think this confluence with the 333 SMA, bottom of this 4 hour demand zone, I would really expect to see some buyers stepping in and potentially bouncing there. So, keep your eye on that. That puts us at about what level is that? Just so you guys can mark it on your charts. 52.63 is the level I'd keep a watch on. Certainly could find ourselves getting some buy side support down in that range, especially again with that 333 getting ready to come up into that 4 hour demand zone, creating a little bit of a confluence of support there. So let's also take a quick look at the member selected tickers that I did for our friends in the Xtrades Discord community. They submit their votes every Friday and across the course of the weekend, I should say, up until Sunday when voting closes. And then I take the top three tickers that got the most requests and do trade plans for those. So those three tickers this past weekend were AMD. Interesting little push here from AMD. Clearly broke out over our call entry level, but didn't quite make it to our first price target before pulling back near the stop loss average down level. Also had that 200 SMA confluence here on the 5-minute chart. So that would have been a nice spot to add to your position. And certainly by the time we pushed back up into the selling pressure here on NTS, you should have been in good shape as far as that new average cost per contract. You should have been able to scale some out either at break even or slight profit. And things looking just a little bit choppy, a little bit iffy this morning, but haven't broken down through the stop loss average down. So the plan is still valid. As long as the plan's valid, we stick to the plan. So it looks like we may see a test of 180.71 at some point today, or possibly lower. But that would be a good spot to try to, again, adjust your position if you need to, as far as AMD goes. Let's see what's going on here with red black 10-year yield, employment instead of inflation for the presidency. Yeah, that's true. I mean, people really don't understand inflation, other than, man, my paychecks seem to go not quite as far as they used to. I think is the one thing that people do comprehend pretty quickly. So, but how it works and what we should be doing to control it is definitely something that is lost on the vast majority of people. So again, AMD kind of hanging in there so far. Intel, similar scenario to AMD. All semis kind of did this yesterday. A lot of it was pumped, I think, on TSM making moves yesterday, but a little bit of a fake out here to the upside before pulling back down, testing that stop loss average down, finding some support in that range. But overall, again, just kind of a really iffy looking trade plan. And personally, I feel like the price action last week, definitely, and certainly so far this week, has just seemed a little suspect, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it. So continue to kind of keep your heads on a swivel, and be ready to adapt as things move on, and also make sure that you're buying plenty of time on your contracts if you're pursuing any of these trades via options. We have certainly seen some nasty chop days and stuff like that. And the last thing you want to have happen is a perfectly good trade entry and trade plan get essentially theta burned to death because you didn't buy enough time. So again, keep that in mind as we are dealing with some of these more uncertain areas of price action. Is probably the best thing I could suggest to you guys. So Intel was the second one from the member selected tickers, and then we also had Marathon Digital Holdings, crypto miner. So far, that has broken to the downside. We saw some breaks below, some back tests as resistances or pretty decent entries. And now we're seeing a gap down, trying to hold this 2036 level of support. But honestly, I see 1983 probably being a realistic first price target still. So keep this one on watch. As long as it stays below 2098, I would expect it to continue to the downside and start hitting some of those targets from the trade plan we did over the weekend. All right, last Thursday, we had a couple of tickers that we knocked out trade plans for. Carnival Cruise Lines was one of them. We did this one Thursday on the live stream, broke down below our put entry, back tested, rejected, tried to hold this weekly level as support. Not surprised there was a small attempt there, but ultimately has gotten down to PT1 and now pushing for PT2 for puts. So congrats if you've stuck to this one and followed this one and executed on the plan. Post earnings report, continuing to kind of grind to the downside here for Carnival. And then Restoration Hardware was the other one that we did last Thursday. This was another post ER play. Pumped to the upside Thursday, right after we did the plan. Hit our first price target. Didn't quite make it to PT2. I thought it was going to get there by the end of the day, but that just didn't happen. Ultimately, the following day on Friday, we saw it break down and start to back test and reject PT1 there. So this is a great sign if you're trying to ride contracts for as long as possible by moving your stops up versus taking profit at specific targets. Anytime you see a break back down below PT1, You should still be in pretty good shape from a profit standpoint, especially with this really nice. I should have pointed this out at the beginning of the discussion of this trade plan, but this really nice breakover, clean back test that shot things up quite a bit after back testing that 334.92 level. So PT1, as you move up through the plan, once you've claimed PT1 as support, that starts to become your stop loss average down level, in my opinion. So make sure that you are chasing the trade with your stops, which will keep you in good shape regardless of if it does decide to pull back a little bit. Don't let those green trades go red, right? All right, so that's our recaps for this morning. Let's get into some new tickers. Let's get some new plans put together. I see Unknown Reviews has asked to take a look at Play. Play is not one. Believe it or not, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. Typically, I've got these things in my back pocket, but oh, Dave and Buster's. Okay. Interesting ticker. Not one I've ever really looked at before. Does decent volume earnings today, though, so be very cautious and mindful of that. I'm guessing that's today after hours. Yeah. So, Dave and Buster's first request from a man unknown reviews. So, we'll take a look at that. Let's see what Red Black's got for me. After the tickers, look into SMCI and look at the trend and the patterns. 1050 back to prepare for past weeks now. Okay, yeah, we can take a look at that for sure. Red Black, I appreciate you pointing that out with SMCI. All right, so whoops, we're already here. We're on the ticker we need to see. Take a look at Dave and Buster's here for our friends. Um, you know, uh, uh, who are following along here on our YouTube. All right, so let's see. Clearly, I've not really ever looked at this one before. So let's, for now, hide our indicators because all I really want to see is price action. Let's get some levels here on the chart, although I feel like I've already started off uh, with some levels that are probably a bit too far down that we're not going to really, we need to keep things kind of focused on where the price action is most likely going to stay within. All right, so let's get these levels dialed in here. And if you guys have more tickers, we're clearly going to have time for more than just play here this morning. So if there are other ticker requests that you guys want to hit me with, please feel free to go ahead, drop those in the YouTube chat. Again, that is where we are focusing our attention these days as far as the FOMO live stream goes. So I think we definitely have a level here that we're going to want to pay attention to. Whoops, there we go, right there. Where else are we looking at? I think there's something near this level. Yeah, it might just be a tad lower. Hang on, let me look at this little area of price action here. Yeah, it's probably sitting right about here. Let's see if that catches this top. It does. Yep, that's what I was looking for. And is this the current all-time high on it? Well, yeah, looks like it is. So we'll want to pay attention to that. Did have this one wick that printed way up here, though. That's interesting. And on the weekly chart, that happened during the cash session. So we'll keep an eye on this guy up here. I'm not sure if we'll need it or not for our trade plan, but we'll figure that out here in just a moment. Another interesting little flip of support and resistance right in this range. We'll keep that in the mix. It's made a nice push though leading up to this earnings report. Personally, I can't tell you the last time I was in a Dave and Buster, so put that in the for what it's worth category. I'm sure it's plenty of people that still go to Dave and Buster's on a regular basis. And one thing I do remember about Dave and Buster's is holy shit, is everything expensive there. Forever ago since I've been there, but that's one thing I feel like sticks out in my mind. Is this over? What's the question there, Kieran? Is this over? Is what over? If you're asking about the live stream, we are still here live and direct, doing it for the W's. All right. Yeah, we got a level in here we're going to want to pay attention to. Something right about here. Not something. A support and resistance level. Real question is, I'm surprised we're not. Yeah, it's kind of barely there, but there's a level there too. All right, I think we're good on these weekly levels. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. And I already noted that this thing does not really move all that much during the extended hours sessions. So anything that doesn't see a lot of healthy price action, fully formed and developed mature candles during the extended hours trading sessions, I generally those are the few tickers that I'll focus a little bit more on just the regular trading hours chart. So looking at the daily versus the 24-hour here, I think there's a level here, but it's not a daily level. We'll probably find out on the 4-hour where that is really sitting at. Big gap up here that eventually we also did see some rejections off of. That's definitely noteworthy. Just looking at this gap up, broke down below, rejected, or back tested, I should say, and rejected ultimately. What is in this little neck of the woods, though? This is the big question mark for me. Yeah, there's something sitting right in there. Uh, hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty decent little daily level there. All right. What's up, Chris? Good morning to you, my friend. How are you? Let me get some coffee in the mix here. Yeah. I was like, why are you asking if it's over right in the middle of a trade plan? But I'm glad you're here, Karen. Thanks for joining. Hopefully, you're getting some solid value out of this, and hopefully, we'll get some really nice plans to execute on today. Chris, I need tickers though, buddy. So if you've got one in mind, you are the king trade plan picker. Chris always comes with those fire tickers, and he sets them up. I knock them down. He gives me the ticker to look at. I come up with a plan. Typically, those crush most of the time. Tag team back again. All right. Wow, I didn't realize how far back I was in time here on this chart. All right, let's get this dialed in. Seems like there's some kind of support right in here, but I'm not fully seeing it, at least not through that little run of price action. That's not all that helpful either. Yeah, it's probably sitting right about here. Hershey has been under fire due to cocoa prices. Perhaps a solid. Yeah, we can take a look at that for sure. Crypto traders. Definitely a little bit of a resistance breakover back test and launch here. That's an interesting level here on the daily chart. All right, I think we're pretty good. Actually, I do want to see, sorry, right as I said that, I do want to see what we can find or if we can find anything in this little range. There's not going to be a ton of price action, historical price data for us to work with, but that's okay. Sometimes I don't need a lot. All right, that looks pretty good there. Okay, let's take a look at this 4-hour chart. And let's see if I can't nail down what this 70.29 level is. Remember, we talked about that a moment ago. Come on, where are you at? There we go. Yeah, lots of resistance, but no real support. It's a little bit lower. sitting right there. I really want to see both, right? When we're looking for support and resistance levels, kind of right there in the name, right? Support and resistance. So you really want to see these things, these levels, reacting well and behaving well in the, you know, as things get tested on both sides of a particular price level. That's really what I want to see. Oh, I also realize that need to be focused a little bit more on regular trading hours, as we mentioned a moment ago. And let's get back to that little spot here. Yeah, it didn't really help too much, but uh, gosh, there's a little 4 hour level right here though. Keep that on watch. And this is still a little bit of a mystery. There's a level there, just not sure what is this. This is June of 2017. I don't think we're going to be able to go back that far uh, on the chart here, but let's see. Whoops. Like, come on. 06, 07. Ah, yeah, we can. How about that? And still not really. Okay, maybe this level is here. It's a little bit lower, I think. It's sitting right there on the hourly chart. Let's see if this also adds any levels up here. This is kind of thin in that it's only had a couple of tests on either side of that level. This is another interesting one, but again, only seeing it as support so far. So we'll take a look at that as we move forward on the chart here. See if we've had any other opportunities to develop some price action up there at 78.86. Let's see. Don't know that we have. I think that's, yeah, that one little run's really the only time that we've ever seen that. So we'll just kind of keep that on watch, understanding that it is not the most confirmed, validated level I've ever drawn or seen. Let's see. So let's fill in some blanks here kind of as we move through this trade plan now. This is definitely an interesting level too that we're going to keep on watch. Hourly. This is also an interesting level that we want to keep on watch. All right. So upside, I think pretty clearly we're looking for a break of 64.97 to play this for a move up. Again, remember earnings report after hours today, so be very careful, especially when it comes to swinging any contracts. We talk about this frequently anytime we start getting a bunch of ER talk in the chats. IV crush is your worst enemy when it comes to these earnings reports trades. So make sure that you are uh, doing things to offset that IV crush, whether you're trading spreads or whatever the case might be. There's lots of different ways to sort of handle uh, that issue. But just going straight calls or puts into an earnings report, very, very high risk. I mean, I'd say your odds are better at the roulette table just playing red and black. Even with the two little, the zero and double zeros green spots on the wheel, I think your odds are still better there versus uh, going into an earnings report. A bunch of people had to go through that experience with GameStop recently after their earnings dumped but stayed within the implied move. I think eventually they just burnt all the options contracts to the ground. So again, that's what we tend to see and expect when there is an earnings report. Another thing that I'm actually going to switch here because I think we open up a different kind of setup if we get over the 65.50 level. And then I think we flip this to being our support or our stop loss average down level here at 64.97. So kind of a little tight window to trade, but I also want to figure out where this top came from. Is it a valid level or is this just like some kind of one-off rejection of something, maybe a trend line or something to that effect? But let's figure out. Again, we're first time we're looking at this chart, so come on. Where's my price action? I know you've been through this range before. right? Where the hell? Where is the PA? There we go. I must have zoomed right past it. Okay, so this is the level that I kind of had a question about. Can we confirm it? I think it's, yeah, that's pretty good actually. I think we can confirm that. I think it's maybe just a little nudge higher. So we'll be looking at this as PT1 over that. That's an interesting little early rejection there. There is a little bit, some signs of there being another support and resistance right there. They're kind of tight. But I think there is another little SR level in the mix here. Or maybe I've just got this daily level of tad high. That could also be the case. Let's see. This is kind of what I'm looking at now. More like that right there. Now maybe even a little bit lower. More like right there. Yeah. I think there is another level here though. They're not as tight as I thought. Yeah, there's something sitting right about here too on the hourly. But I think what we'll do is we'll shoot for the 67.94 PT2. Pay attention to 68.33 as we try to push higher. But ultimately, I think that's just a little too tight as far as price targets go. So I think our next one is going to be the 68.76 4-hour level up here for the upside. All right. Sorry, that took a little bit longer than I was anticipating, but I think it was worth the extra effort and time spent. This is also an interesting level right in here. Lots of really clean rejections off of it. And I think that below that, downside could open up. Let's take a look. Also, yeah, let's get some help here. This will help spot some of these levels and setups. Yeah, we did just break out over that. So I think, yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll shift this entry down to a break below this daily level. We'll use this 4-hour level as our stop loss average down. So then price targets, be looking for this weekly level. First target might just be 1, 2, 3 on this. Yeah, we could catch support there at 61.13. So that would be my second target. Third target, this is an interesting little spot with this gap down to resistance. Also found a really clean bounce off this level and had found support here several times. I think I'd be looking for that to potentially hold as well, which means we want to be scaling out of puts at that point. So I think 60.41. And those are our trade plans. So let's put this together. Let me get these posted and then we'll talk through it real quick. That's our upside plan. Again, earnings report on this one, so be careful. Overall, though, flipping things bullish, riding those SMAs to the upside. Nice little bounce there and bounce near the 333 SMA there. All right, let's talk about this. So here is your link. Whoops, that's not it. There we go. Sometimes trading views slow. And this is play trade plans. So let me also copy this, put it over in the watch list in the Discord. Play trade plans from the live stream. All right, so what are we looking for here on play, aka Dave and Buster's? We're looking for a break over 65.50. That should give us upside targets at 66.71, 67.94, and 68.76 with a stop loss average down at 64.97. It's kind of a tight little window, but I think that's appropriate because this is a pretty nasty resistance that we would not want to be back under after breaking above 65.50 resistance. So that's why this upside trade plan is a little tight, but I think that's appropriate based on what I see here with the price action. For the downside, we're looking for a break below 63.24. That should bring targets at 61.89, 61.13, and 60.41 with a stop loss average down at 64.36. Those are your play, aka Dave and Buster's trade plans. All right, let's see. Had one Hershey's HSY, right? I think that was the next one that got mentioned, isn't it? I know Red Black talked about taking a look at some trends and stuff on SMCI, which we will circle back to that before we wrap up. But let's see what Crypto Traders has got for us here with Hershey's. And another one that, again, I have not traded much in the past, do not have a ton of predefined levels on it, but Hershey's been around a while, should be pretty easy to spot these levels, I would think. Let's dig into it. Yeah, we got definitely something here that we'll probably be looking for. This is probably going to wind up being our call entry here around 210. Yeah, I like this level too. Uh, Something there. Pretty clean for the most part. It's got some messy spots, but that's okay. This guy is sitting probably about here. And yeah, definitely something sitting there. I think that's all we're going to need for upside. Downside, I see pretty clear resistance, pretty good support near that level. Interesting little flip of support and resistance there. Right about here. It's actually, that's maybe a little bit low. Let me nudge this up just a tiny bit to right there. Yeah. And I think we may need some more downside levels. This is an interesting one where there's clearly resistance, but going back to what I was saying earlier, not seeing, at least on the weekly chart here, any real signs of support, no clean touches off that level. So we'll circle back to that on the daily chart as we break into some of these weekly candles. We'll probably see those support touches that we need to really lock that in. And I think there's a good weekly level here. Anything else? This is interesting. That big wick up here and rejection certainly grabs your attention, but not really seeing anything else other than that one rejection. Same thing with this candle here too. Just not seeing a lot else to really confirm anything up there. This isn't actually, I think we do have a level. It's right about here. Doesn't catch that wick cleanly. I wouldn't even really count that, but looking at this run up, kind of stall out as resistance there, try to double bottom and ultimately bounced off that weekly candle, and then we see it try to hold right down below, back test, pushing down. So anyway, that's why I like that level. All right, let's take a look. One thing I didn't scope out is how this thing trades during the extended hour sessions, and pretty thin. So we're going to stick with the daily chart and the regular trading hours chart on Hershey's as well. See what's going on here in the chat. Of course, you're welcome, Unknown Reviews. Glad I could help. Let's see if you didn't pick us a winner with that trade plan. All right. Let's see. This is sitting right about in here. Yeah. Yep. I like that. And there's definitely something on the daily sitting right here as well. Pay attention to that. Keep that in the mix. Yeah, this one, let's see if we can find some historical help here. Not really interesting, but I do see it, yeah, pretty clearly here on the recent price action. So we'll stick with it. I was just looking for some further confirmation there. This is an interesting level now that we're looking at the daily chart. Just looking at that rejection, this flip of support to resistance there. Again, let's see if we get any historical help. Yeah, there's some more support and some resistance there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll stick with that. Some interesting tests on both sides of this level. Yeah, it looks like if Hershey's can get over this 207.88, it should have some pretty decent room to the upside. This is an interesting little level here, though. Wouldn't want to ignore. Let's see if, again, we can get some help here on the old historical price action. A little bit, not a lot. That's okay. It doesn't always wind up having a lot. This is a level also we're going to want to watch. Let's see. I'm going to keep an eye on this one for a second. It's maybe just a little bit higher, actually, sitting more like right there. Yeah, that helps there. Yeah, I think we can stick with that. All right, so where does that put us as far as this trade plan goes? This is an interesting bottom. Clearly not enough to go on there, but let's see if we can't get some confirmation or a better idea where this level's sitting back here. I can see it. It's maybe a little bit higher. Come on, move line. Yeah, right about there. That's pretty solid. Yeah, that works. Okay. All right, let's get into some of these hourly levels real quick. 4 hour starting off. And yeah, I'm still not seeing really anything that changes my mind about the entry, stop loss, first target. There is some interesting support and resistance shifting around this level on the 4 hour, though. That could wind up being a slightly better stop loss for us. Let's take a look real quick. 908. Okay, doing all right on time so far. Yeah, yep, there's something there. It's maybe just a little tiny bit higher, like right there. Yeah, for sure. Yep, that'll work. Okay, so like this, it's an entry. This will be our stop loss here. First target, this weekly level. Let's start filling in some blanks from there. Here on the hourly chart, let's also get our indicators working in our favor. Yeah, a lot of this was getting pushed down by the SMAs, especially these rejections all through there. Clean, clean rejections off that 333 SMA. People think I just pulled a rabbit out of the hat with that particular moving average, but throw it on your charts, take a look at it, tell me it doesn't, you don't find a lot of bounces and rejections off of it, regardless of which time frame you're looking at. If you prove me wrong, I'll be totally okay with that. But 333 should probably be one that you're keeping track of on your charts as well. Just my opinion. All right, got confluence of support down here just below, but ultimately running up into bearish selling pressure here. There is an hourly level sitting right about here, just below where those SMAs are sitting. Yeah, yep, I'm happy with that. I think this would be our entry level. That then raises the question of a good stop loss. I think we're looking at, yeah, let's use 194.85 to our advantage here for the stop loss. First target, there's still technically a little bit of gap to fill coming down to this daily level. So I think 188.11, smart first price target. Second target, I think this daily level's a little low. Sitting probably more like right here. Yeah. And that's going to be our second price target. Third target, yeah, I say we take a shot at 179.07. I think we can make it down to that. There is a weekly level at 182.05, so don't totally ignore that. But here are our Hershey's, God, that's hard to say. Hershey's trade plans. Again, this looks a lot tighter than it is. It's just because I'm kind of really zoomed out on the chart there. But we'll zoom back in for you guys before we post this. All right, copy link. Let's get that in the mix here. HSY trade plans. And let's also get it over to our friends in Discord. The live stream. Cool. All right, let's talk about it. So, what we're looking for here on Hershey's is a break over 204.08 to catch continuation to the upside. That should give us targets at 207.88, 210.72, and 213.79 with a stop loss average down at 201.39. I know that seems like it's forever away, but I think we're just kind of in a range where there are lots of potential resistance issues until we break over 204.08. And then I think I pointed this out earlier. Once we're above that, we certainly would not want to see the price action back below 201.39. Otherwise, that upside trade plan could be in trouble. So that's our stop loss average down there. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 192.73. That should give us targets at 188.11, 184.56, and 179.07 with a stop loss average down at 194.85. Those are your Hershey's trade plans. All right, let's take a quick look at SMCI for our friend Red Black Rue in the chat here. What is SMCI doing? So back testing 1050. You can see the trend with the last 3 weeks been pretty accurate. Let's take a look. 1050. I guess you're saying back testing 1050 as resistance? Red Black? Yeah, of course. You're very welcome, crypto traders. Glad to see you here. Yeah, I think maybe what Red Black, aka Rue, is looking at probably something that's hitting like this, very close to it. Yeah. So back testing as resistance. Do have the 200 crossing below the 333 here on the hourly chart. That's never a good sign. We're also breaking down below and back testing at 333 as resistance, as well as the 200 actually. Now at this point, to me, I mean, it certainly needs to hold. You see this nice bounce off that key buying level there on Neptune that ultimately sent it up through some old fib extensions. The SMCI is not one that I've looked at as much as it might seem with all the lines that are on this chart. But yeah, it looks like if it breaks that previous low here at 990.37, it could pull back at the very least down to 953. Then below that, I think downside really opens up. So yeah, definitely one to keep on watch if it does break down here. And we have finally seen some weakness in the semiconductor sector. So just a couple of quick housekeeping items before we wrap up today. We are 15 minutes from market open. I've noted this by how I have plotted or put on the calendar the upcoming FOMO live streams, but I will not be doing live streams on, what are those dates? April 16th, April 18th, or April 23rd. So there's kind of a week and a half where I will not be doing live streams because I will be out of the country getting married. So we depart wee hours in the morning on Tuesday the 16th. I'll be down in the Dominican until the 22nd, and then we get back in the wee hours in the morning on the 23rd. I'm probably not going to be uh, ready after a long wedding trip and flights and getting home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I'm going to, and probably not looking at the markets a whole ton while I'm away. But I will do my best to continue to put the SPY plans out there in the Xtrades Discord and the options watch list while I'm away. I'll do my best to stay on top of those. I probably won't be able to do one on Tuesday the 16th just because I'll be on a plane. But anyway, I'll continue to mention this. I just don't want folks showing up expecting a live stream on those dates when I'm not going to be around to do one. So I did note that by how I've scheduled out the live streams through the end of the month. So I will continue to mention that as we get closer to D-Day, wedding day. So anyway, dude, you're always invited, man. Catch a plane down to Dominican. We're going to be in Puerto Plata. Come kick it. Everybody's welcome to join. Just give me a heads up so we can, tell the villa to make a few more plates for the reception. All right. That's right. She's got the cuffs on, man. Those have been on for a while. All right. So with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. I really do appreciate it. We will be back Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, I'm going to suggest to you what I always suggest to those who join our FOMO live streams here. Plan your trades, trade your plans, and if you don't have a plan to trade, of your own, trade one of mine, right? That's why we do these things. Hopefully you guys are learning as we're doing these. I'm also going to put together a survey here pretty soon to try to get some feedback on, thoughts, comments, et cetera, things that you guys think we could do to further improve these live stream sessions. But I think they're tremendously helpful for me. Hopefully they're tremendously helpful for you guys as well. And again, we tend to find some pretty banging trade plans, especially when Chris and some of these guys get in the mix and start suggesting these tickers that are diamonds in the rough. So with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I will see you in the chats. Keep your heads on the swivel. SPY plan coming at you in the options watch list here ASAP. You guys have a fantastic day. Take care. I will talk to you soon and see you back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.